Yo, what's good everybody? Hope y'all doing well. In this video, I'm going to be showing y'all 7 different methods that you can use to make your beat making faster. If you want to get faster at making beats, this is the video for you. And that's enough of an intro, so let's jump right into it. Jumping into FL Studio here, we have ourselves a fresh session. The first strategy I want to cover is making a template, and this is more applicable when you're making drums. So I'm going to open up my template. I'm going to go up to File, hit New from Template, and then my drums template. So in my drums template, I have my basic sounds outlined. You can put your preferred drum sounds in here, but I just prefer to keep them open. And notice that they're all routed to the mixer track here. All the drum sounds, including my tag, are routed to the mixer track, and I also have an open mixer track for my loop. And if you have any effects that you like to put on your sounds, you can also put a default sound here, like an EQ or something. You can also put down some default drum midis too. So if you want to put in just like a simple clap with a 2-step hi-hat, you could do that and save it. And so once you get all this set up where you have all of your sounds routed to a mixer track, you have any preferred sounds that you want, maybe your tag, a transition sound. Then the last thing that I would recommend doing is going to your master track and put down your preferred master chain. And at this point, I would say it's ready to go. And how you go about saving this as one of those possible templates is you want to hit Control S. And this is on FL Studio 21. The older versions of FL just automatically open you into the file browser. But from here, what you want to do is click this little folder button, and then you want to scroll up to your C drive and see where it says Documents. Click on that, go to image line, double click on that, then go to FL Studio, double click on that, then go to projects, and then templates right here. Then you want to hit select folder, and then you can name your FLP accordingly. And if you want to make this your default template, you just go to change default template, scroll all the way to the bottom, and where it says default template, you can change it to one of your created templates, and then put the startup project to default. Now moving on to the second method, which is learning shortcuts. I don't have enough time in this video to go over all the shortcuts. I would say for FL Studio or even any other DAW, you can either print out, or if you have a second screen, have those shortcuts open. And as you're making your beats, you can use them and get kind of a feel for what each of the shortcuts do. And then eventually over time, it'll start to become more muscle memory and you'll get more used to it. And something to kind of go along with shortcuts, if you have a mouse that has side buttons or some sort of programmable buttons on the side or wherever they may be, use those to hot route some of the more important or hard to reach keys to make your shortcuts even faster. So for my mouse right here, I just have these 2 programmable buttons on the side. The front one's mapped to L and the back one is mapped to delete. Those are the ones that are kind of hard to reach on the keyboard. They're further away from Control, Shift, and Alt. And I use them a lot too. So if I'm deleting notes, deleting pattern clips or whatever, I'll select them using Control click and then hit the little delete button on my mouse. Or if I'm lengthening notes in the piano roll or I'm mapping sounds to the mixer track, I'll use Control L. I'd recommend using keys that are farther on the keyboard, not necessarily ones that are closer to the left side, such as like A, S, D, C, and V. And also be patient with this one. It takes a little bit of practice to get all the shortcuts down and to become really proficient at them. But once you are, it makes your process a whole lot faster. So now moving on to the third method, which is using a starter, a phrase, a MIDI, or anything that will help build an idea faster. So if you're making beats from scratch, you can just get a minor idea from either a starter or a phrase, and that'll probably make it easier for you to get the ball rolling instead of having to come up with a melody from scratch. You'll have a little bit of inspiration from that, but it's not so much to where it's an entire loop and there isn't much to add to it. This helps with making your beats faster, and also if you have beat block, it helps out with that too. If you want some pretty quality accents or starters, I've got a bunch in my Resonance multi-kit. Got about 50 or so accents, about 25 starters, and they're all royalty free. First link in the description if you're interested. Moving on to method number 4, and that is using other people's loops. To be more specific, if you're really stuck making beats from scratch, using someone else's loop and just putting the drums on it will help you get the ball rolling and kind of get you into the flow of things. And this is more helpful, especially if you haven't made beats in a few days or you're feeling kind of rusty. This will definitely help you build some momentum and get your ideas flowing a little bit, and the loop might just inspire you to make something similar. And then after you've made that first beat using a third-party loop, then go make a beat from scratch, and it'll probably be a little bit easier because you've got a little bit more momentum, you got things rolling a little bit, and creatively it should be a little bit more straightforward after that. So moving on to the 5th method. So before you even open up your DAW or you do anything, just have an idea of what type of sound you want or what sound you're going to use, a specific genre, rapper, anything. And this will make it a whole lot easier because you're going in with an expectation of, I'm going to make something like this. So a lot of your creative decisions going forward will be kind of geared in a specific direction. But I will caution you, over the long term, this will slow down your creativity. So don't use this one too much because you'll get kind of stuck to just, I'm only going to make a specific type of sound, or you get too good at making one sound and you kind of lose a little bit of your versatility. Don't be afraid to experiment, but if you just want to get into the rhythm of things, or if you want to make a beat really quickly, having an expectation of what type of beat that you want definitely speeds up the process. Moving on to the sixth method, and this is organizing your sounds, whether it be in VST presets or it's just on this browser here on the left in FL Studio. Having your sounds organized or prioritized makes it a whole lot easier to find them. As you can tell from my side browser here, I like to use special characters to prioritize or sort my kits by how often I use them. And so what I mean by using special characters is using things like a hyphen or an exclamation point before the name of the kit or the name of the sound that you're going to use, and that'll put it at the top of the list. Alright, so I have my file explorer open here, and I have it as the same setting as FL Studio where it sorts it alphabetically. I'll demonstrate what I mean by using the special characters here, but say for example I want this samples folder to be at the top. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the beginning and hit exclamation point, and that'll put it at the top because an exclamation point comes earlier in the alphabet or lexicon when it comes to file names. Let's say for example I put in a really low letter like Z, and I wanted to put this at the very top above samples. So if I put down an exclamation point, it's still going to be below. So what I can do after that is just add a space after the exclamation point, and that'll put it on top. The other character that I like to use is the hyphen, which is just this little minus sign. I'll use the hyphen with a space to put the most important kits at the top. It goes over the exclamation point with a space after it. So experiment around with the different special characters. You'll be able to see that some of them have more of an effect than others. And so if I put that into my FL Studio, you can see that that's reflected here. And if you want a specific folder or hard drive to show up here on the left, how you can make it pop up is go to Options and File Settings, and what you do is just go to this browser extra search folder section and then just click on any of the empty slots and click on the little folder icon, and then you can browse and find a folder that you want to route to the left here. Now this brings us to the seventh and last method, which is practice. I know that might seem kind of like an anticlimactic finish, but let me cook here a little bit and it'll make a little more sense. When I say practice, I don't mean just blazing through beats just to make them. Don't just show up to make beats just for the sake of making beats. You want to make beats to get better or to have a good quality end product. So if you're just throwing together something just for the sake of just saying that you made the beat, that's totally fine, but it's going to be really hard to improve significantly if you're only doing that. I personally learned this through experience. So for about the first 8 to 12 months of me taking beats seriously, I probably made 3 to 5 beats, mostly from scratch on a day-to-day basis. But my problem was that I was not focusing on quality. I was focusing on just getting the beats down. So this helped in departments of learning shortcuts and finding common patterns in beats and whatnot. It did not help in certain areas, such as my sound selection or overall quality of my melodies or drums. I would say if you're closer to that beginner to intermediate level, focus first on making quality beats and then increase your speed after that. So basically what I'm getting at is be intentional with your practice, make quality beats. The process will be slow at first, but if you keep practicing, you will get faster over time. And always remember that quality almost always beats out quantity. So that's gonna do it for this one. I appreciate y'all sticking around to the end. This is a bit of a shorter video, so hopefully you guys were able to get some gems out of it. And that's gonna do it for me, so I'll see y'all in the next one.